Ahoy guys, thank you for tuning in to Fancy Free Philosophy, the world-renowned and highly profound pinnacle of broadcast professionalism. Alright, regarding the escalation of tensions and polarization of American political discourse, I want to say a few things in this video. So my intention with this channel is to provide useful information and insights that serve everyone, regardless of your political perspective. I hope I'm able to contribute towards facilitating a more constructive dialogue between opposing political factions. I think I'm capable of pitching in to some degree here. I feel that's what America needs most at this time. But we can't forget that at least 90 to 95% or more of common American voters, even if mistaken about some ideas, they have good intentions, generally speaking, and want to reach totally moral and positive goals for America, such as prosperity, lifting up the poor, quality education, quality healthcare, safety, security, and peace, diminishing racism, sexism, homophobia, and all bigotries. This goes for both parties. I've talked to many people on both sides. No one is a fan of racism that I've met in my life. And for every American to have the highest quality of life that's possible to achieve. So if we start off by assuming it's due to bad motives for why people oppose our policy preferences, it's way harder to have a civil discussion about serious and vital issues, discussions that we need to have. Now, the left should know and keep in mind that the data consistently shows that on average, conservatives donate more to charity, volunteer more time, and tip more. I don't say that to criticize the left, who themselves spend more time on average participating in activism for what they believe to be moral and just causes. So, for example, if you're a progressive, then what is your first thought about the motive of someone who opposes gay marriage? Just think for a second. Now, I'm staying out of this one today, but I'm bringing this up because I personally talk to people of various perspectives on tons of issues. Today, most Christian conservatives I've met do not oppose gay marriage anymore. Those who do oppose it are clear to me that all people are God's children and their lives have equal value. So beyond the Bible and Jesus defining marriage, they still oppose it for the non-religious reason, the secular reason, that only one type of relationship has the unique ability to create new human life. So the unique incentives that legal marriage provides should be reserved for the one type of relationship that creates the children that are necessary for the future of our country. That's sort of the argument that I've heard a few times. So, does that sound sinister to you? If you pictured a bad motive when I asked you earlier, maybe you wouldn't have assumed that if you talked and listened to those people a little bit more. I agree on principle that tolerance is important in most situations, so I'm not trying to imply anything here, but let me point out that if a hypothetical guy, Winston, let's say Winston only tolerates people he agrees with, would you call that tolerance? I'm serious. That doesn't seem to me to be very tolerant if you only tolerate people you agree with. That's not in any meaningful sense, at least. So I'm serious about this stuff. If opposing sides can't use our speech and words to resolve our disagreements, then the end result will be the winning party imposing their totally opposite laws and policies on the minority. So enjoy that when you win, but when you lose, you get to live with the consequences of not negotiating a compromised consensus with your opposition. So it's words, negotiation, or force. So you make your choice, but if you choose neither, then vote for only your idea. That's choosing force. Andrew Klavan mostly does political commentary on his show at the Daily Wire, which is Ben Shapiro's online media network. Klavan has explained many times that he feels it's important for conservatives and liberals or progressives to have a robust dialogue on a consistent basis with respect and good faith towards the other side. So Klavan feels generally the role conservatives provide is to help maintain the individual liberty of all Americans and conserving our most important political and social institutions, both public and private institutions. And he thinks that generally the role on the left that they provide is a more creative approach on adapting to the changes that are sometimes required to address present circumstances and to advance towards social and moral innovations to create an ideal future for society. Stubborn partisanship only locks us in our political bubbles. so that when one party takes the wheel, it neglects many legitimate concerns of the other party, which results in less successful policies and laws due to a lack of useful and constructive tweaks that were not made because partisanship caused people to ignore important relevant information, data, arguments, and perspectives. So when you listen to both sides, you can cut the wheat from the chaff, so to speak, and glean the bits of wisdom that lurk within most perspectives, and take everything into account, at least to the best of our capabilities as imperfect people. We need more intellectual and ideological humility. The approach that I recommend is combining rational skepticism with radical open-mindedness to embrace new ideas that challenge your beliefs. Over time, you'll discard your false beliefs. It might be painful to confront the fact that you're wrong about stuff, but that's just part of the whole process. You'll cultivate greater wisdom and increase your stockpile of truth bombs. Now, when you guard any of your ideas from the arena of criticism, you've chosen dogmatism instead of intellectual development. It'll be uncomfortable and perhaps painful at times. Negative emotions will arise, sometimes quite strongly. I've been there. But if you stick to it, I've found that eventually that changes, so that times when you suspect you may be wrong, it'll actually be exciting. A venture into ideas previously unknown to you, a potential discovery of truth, like striking gold or diamonds. But if not, usually you still win by fortifying your ideas from another false proposition or argument, like building antibodies, except these can be shared with others. So all of you can become more effective in a fight against ignorance, falsehood, or immorality. Your certainties are your biggest blind spots. Feel free to be certain, but exempting an idea from questioning is an implicit admission of fear and weakness, commonly known as dogma. So if you're right, then there's nothing to fear. When mankind is wrong, it's the fear of being defeated by truth that will be the downfall of civilization, most likely. On the surface, the spectacle of the fall of civilizations have a chaotic storm of appearances, but thus far, I've always found that at the root foundations, it's a collective dogmatic rejection of truth that's the deepest underlying cause. That's a topic for another video, but I'll analyze the fall of the Western Roman Empire sometime. Ask me in the comments if you want, and I'll send you a link to the best video about it that I've seen. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, if you're too busy or just don't feel like having a civil discussion with someone who disagrees with you, then I want to seriously recommend that you at least show respect and not demonize your opponents and make harsh accusations, even on social media, because that only adds more to our polarized and partisan political discourse, making negotiation less possible than it already is. Therefore, more likely that the losing side has their concerns ignored and disregarded. Now, you're only one person, but the collective political atmosphere is constructed by individuals. One by one, each person contributes their part. Likewise, there's no forest without individual trees. A forest is only a conceptual notion. It takes individual trees for a forest to have any sort of truth value. So I'm just asking people to do their part and be someone who's able to disagree politely, like I strive to be. So unless you can read minds, you probably do not know someone's motives. So please refrain from attributing nefarious motives. Besides being dishonest, knee-jerk moral condemnation feeds into polarization. So that's not sustainable for the long-term stability of society if we can't negotiate in a reasonable manner. So if you think I'm exaggerating, then I suggest you study the track record of political polarization in history. There's plenty of examples in just the 20th century alone. Most people overestimate how durable civilization really is. Now, I'm not trying to be sensationalist and say we're on the verge of collapse or anything. I'm just saying these are my general concerns, and generally, the collapse of a civilization, it's a gradual process, and then there's a turning point and it happens really quickly. So these are just my overall concerns. Not claiming, America's going to fall apart or anything, but if this polarization stuff continues for a prolonged period of time, it's possible that can bring apart some sort of calamity. So Personally, I'd happily give up my own vote to raise the voting age to 25 or 30 to kind of boost the proportion of maturity and life experience in the voting population, to be completely honest with you. Now, by the way, I'm open to request if you want me to address a certain topic. As long as I feel capable of it, then I'll make the video for you. So please do me a quick favor and click the thumbs up for this video to help me out. And as I mentioned in my last video, don't make the mistake of clicking thumbs down, which if discovered by the authorities, then the karma cops will burn your house down. So took a lot of bribes to set that one up, so consider yourself warned. Also, comments help boost videos and algorithms, and if you really want to help me out, then share my videos with people you think will enjoy them. I appreciate all your help, guys. I'll set up a way for people to donate when I feel like I've earned it after making more quality content. My next video will be on Trump's foreign policy on Iran and killing Soleimani, so keep an eye out for that one. Thanks for listening, everybody. Stay fly, long live philosophy, and I'll talk to you guys soon.